Come on.
What you see in the documentary is the road trip my dad and I take back to the community that we grew up in, this Indigenous community, Northern Territory in the Outback of Australia. And they were definitely my most vivid earliest memories. I have trouble remembering kind of years earlier than that and years after that, because I think, one, it was so starkly different to the environment in Melbourne where I grew up. But I think it had such a profound impact on me due to, for so many reasons, the connection with the land, the people in that community, the experience itself was so dramatically different to anything else I'd done. But the immersion within that in Indigenous culture in Australia and having feeling the sort of influence from the sort of traditional way of life that they embodied and the welcoming we received in that town. I still have, when I think about who I am and my appreciation and sense of gratitude and place in the world, definitely I'm brought back to that period of my life. I'm trying to think of a single sort of thing for you, but that period of time for me is the most vivid and wonderful.
What images flash in your mind when you're thinking about that time? Is it
not owning a pair of shoes, not having a TV, being the only white kid in an Indigenous school, buffalo walking down the street, being 5 hours drive from the nearest shops. It was like a little remote community in the middle of the outback, but how normal it all felt, and to be sort of thrust back into that environment now would be sort of a shock to the system in many ways. But that was as familiar and comfortable and organic as sort of anything I've ever felt. And that I see photographs now that prompt instant sort of visceral feelings and a deep sort of nostalgia and warmth and happiness, and a sense of connection, because that was, we lived in a tent at one point, with my parents and my older brother. We then lived in a sort of a very older sort of rundown house, but it was as wonderful of a childhood as you could